Hello there, first graders. It's Ms. Rhodes with today's Read Aloud. Today's story is one that's familiar to you. You probably already know the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And you're already thinking of words we might see in this book. Goldilocks, Papa Bear, Mama Bear, Baby Bear. Maybe there'll be a bowl of porridge. That's kind of like oatmeal. Chairs and beds. Good readers start thinking before they even start reading. That helps them read better. We've been talking and reading about reading strategies. Do you remember what a strategy is? A reading strategy is just what you can do when you're stuck on a word. You know a lot of them already. One thing you can do is look at the pictures. Sometimes there'll be a clue in the illustrations that can help you figure out a word. The most important thing is to make sure that it makes sense. Sometimes you can think, what word would make sense at that spot in the sentence? You know sometimes if a word is long or short, that can help. While we're thinking about what makes sense, we might also look and listen to the sounds of the first one or two letters of a word or the sounds of part of the word. And last week we talked about the strategy to skip. You can read a sentence, come to a hard word, just skip it. Say blank. Skip the hard word, read the rest of the sentence for more clues, then go back to reread the whole sentence. Any strategy you use, you're going to want to, at the end, go back. If you are reading and you get stuck on a word, you figure it out, then you always go back to the beginning and reread that whole sentence to make sure that the word you figured out makes sense and matches. Now, when we talk about strategies, sometimes we talk about one or the other, but really you need to know a lot of strategies, and sometimes you'll use more than one to figure out a word. Not every strategy works with every word. You might want to look at the picture and then look at the first letter, and that can help you figure out if it's a bunny or a rabbit. Or you might be thinking about, well, what word would make sense there? This is a really long word for that animal in the picture. So when you use strategies, you don't just use one, and every strategy won't work on every word. Sometimes you have to use strategies together to figure out a word. Whatever you do, you always end by going back and rereading that whole sentence through. Today's strategy might be one you use already. It's called chunk it. Chunk it means to look for smaller words hiding inside a bigger word. Like that's a chunk of cheese, a small piece of cheese inside a big package of cheese. We're going to be looking for a familiar chunk. That just means a part of a longer word that we know. If I was reading a story about first grade at Metamora and I saw this sentence, we see Mrs. and now I'm stuck on this word. I don't know the word, but I see a little word I do know, all. The word all is part of the bigger word. All is a chunk. All. Oh, call. We see Mrs. Call. That whole word is call. The word all helped me figure it out. All is a chunk. Another sentence in the story about Metamora first grade might be this. I like Mrs. I'm not sure whose name that is, but I see a part of the word I know. Can you see the word know? I like Mrs. Nolte. Nolte. Those letters match. Knowing the word know, N-O, helped me read her name, Nolte. I like Mrs. Nolte. No was a chunk of her name. I'm going to read Goldilocks and the Three Bears now, and I'm going to use that new strategy, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. In Goldilocks and the Three Bears, it says it is retold by David Edwin. That means he's not the author. It says retold. That's because this is a fairy tale or a folk tale, a story that's been told for hundreds of years all over the world. So David Edwin did not make up the story. He put the story into these words that are in this book. So he's not the author. He is retelling the story. He's telling a familiar story in his words. It's illustrated by Donald Wu. Once, I'm stuck on this word. I'm going to look closely. Oh, and I see a sight word, up. And I see another sight word, on. Once, up, on, once upon. Stories start like that a lot. Once upon a time, a little girl named Goldilocks went for a walk in the woods. She strolled along until she saw a tiny little, not sure what that word is. It's that little house up there. House, could be shed. Oh, I see the word in, one of my sight words. A word for a house that has the word in it. Oh, cabin. She saw a tidy little cabin deep in the, I thought it was going to be woods. That doesn't start with the right sound. Deep in the, I see my sight word for, deep in the forest. Oh, she strolled along until she saw a tidy little cabin deep in the forest. The chunk in helped me read cabin, and the chunk for helped me read forest. Goldilocks knocked on the door 3 times, but no one answered. So she slowly opened the door and, oh, here's a very long word, in. Oh, I see a part of that word I know. I see my sight word too. So she slowly opened the door and tiptoed. Oh, tiptoed. That word is tiptoed. But tiptoed doesn't have the word to in it. So sometimes you'll find a chunk and it doesn't help you read a word. That's why you always need to be thinking, does that word sound like a word? Does it make sense in the sentence? So she slowly opened the door and tiptoed in. The word to didn't help me. Oh, now here's another long word. Do you see the little word inside that will help me? There's the word in. Inside, Goldilocks saw 3 bowls of porridge. Well, that's not porridge. I thought they saw porridge. But I see some words in this word I do know. I see the word at. Oh, and I see another sight word. I see the word me. 3 bowls of me with an L at the end, meal, oatmeal. So the word me helped me. That little chunk at didn't help me, did it? Inside, Goldilocks saw 3 bowls of oatmeal on the kitchen table. She dipped a spoon into the first bowl of oatmeal. Too hot. Next, she tried the oatmeal in the second bowl. Too cold. Then she tried the oatmeal in the last bowl. Just right. And she ate it all up. Then Goldilocks saw 3 comfy chairs in the den. I got stuck on this word, and this is easy though, at. So there's the word at. So the word is at, sat. She sat, I see that chunk do. She sat, that doesn't sound like talking. She sat blank in the first chair. Oh, she sat down. Oh, I hear that word is down. So the word do did not help me. That chunk was not helpful. She sat down in the first chair. Next, she sat in the second chair. Too low. Then she sat in the last chair. Just right. And she broke it to smithereens. Then Goldilocks went, a huge word, not a first grade word, but I see a part of it I know. There's my sight word, up. Then Goldilocks went upstairs, where she saw 3 cozy beds. She lay down on the first one. Too hard. Next, she lay down on the second one. Too soft. Then she plopped down on the last one. Just right. And she fell fast asleep. Uh-oh, we know what happens next, don't we? Soon, the 3 bears came home to their, there's that word in, cabin. First, they saw the 3 bowls. Here's a long word. I see a lot of parts of this word I know. I see the word so. I can see the word me. I can see the word on. In fact, I can see the whole word one. There's lots of chunks of that word. I'll read on for more clues. Papa Bear's talking and he says, blank tasted my oatmeal. Someone tasted my oatmeal. The chunk one helped me. The other chunks didn't. Someone tasted my oatmeal. Someone tasted my oatmeal. Someone tasted my oatmeal and ate it all up. Then they went into the den where they saw 3 comfy chairs. Someone was sitting in my chair. Someone was sitting in my chair. Someone sat in my chair, and now it's broken. Next, they went upstairs where they saw the 3 cozy beds. Someone was sleeping in my bed. Someone was sleeping in my bed. Someone was sleeping in my bed, and there she is! Just then Goldilocks woke up and saw the 3 bears. She jumped out of bed, ran down the stairs, dashed out the door, and raced all the way home. Bears! And Goldilocks never ever went back to the cabin in the woods. I won't do that again. Did you enjoy that book? Did you see how we can find parts of a word we know inside a longer word to help us read? When you're reading your stories now, with all those other strategies we've talked about, remember, sometimes you can chunk it. Sometimes you can find a smaller word hiding inside that can help you figure out the longer word. It doesn't always work. None of the strategies work with every word, and sometimes you have to use strategies together. But chunking it is a new strategy for you to try as you read.